My story is two are better than one. Let me tell you about my best friend. She's a warm-hearted person who loves me to the end. I have known this person my whole life, and today I am surprising her with this story. Will you give a warm welcome to my sister, Patty Stover? Stand up. Stand up. Patty and I come from a family of 6 children. There were 3 boys and 3 girls. We were the Brady Bunch. Patty was Marcia, and I was Jan. And she's 2 years older than I. Now, we were silly and giddy little girls. A typical night at our dinner table would look something like this. We'd sit down, Patty would look at me, and I would start to giggle. Deep down inside, this uncontrollable, unstoppable giggle would just come up, and then she'd start to laugh. And then we'd compose ourselves because our dad didn't like it too much. And then she'd do something really silly, and I'd start to laugh all over again. Well, when our father had had enough, usually the food was just spilling down our chins, tears were coming out of our eyes, we would be dismissed to our rooms with hungry bellies, but comrade spirits. And you know what? It never seemed quite as funny in there.
Because your belly was talking.
When I was 4 and Patty was 6, we were heading over to a friend's house. And we had to cross this small residential street to get there. Now, we both saw the car coming. Patty made a run for it, but I stayed on the sidewalk. And that morning, I saw my sister get hit by a car. And that was traumatic for both of us. Patty suffered a broken leg, but she was okay. But that accident caused her to have to redo kindergarten. And then my parents got this novel idea that I should do kindergarten also. Now, I want to believe it's because they saw the genius in me. But let's be honest here, they had 6 kids. By the time you get to child number 4, which I was, you put them in kindergarten at 4 years old. That's called a sanity break. But I am sticking with the genius theory. Well, that began 12 years of being known as the twins who weren't twins. And for the life of me, I could never understand how people could not tell us apart. I mean, there was one very significant difference between Patty and I. She is brunette, and I am blonde. And I would try to tell people this, and they just still got us all mixed up. And it finally dawned on me. You know, brunette and blonde, they're both B words. And they can't remember which B word goes with which girl. All right, so then we move right into puberty. Or should I say, puberty hit Patty. As Mother Nature would have it, Patty was an early bloomer, and I was very late. And Patty started wearing a training bra. Oh, though I was 2 years younger than her, I really wanted a training bra. That Christmas, I opened up a gift, and it was addressed to me. And it was a training bra. I was so excited. Finally, they understood just how much I needed this. And then my sweet mother, she took it right out of my hands and she said, "Oh, honey, this was meant for Patty." If pride had been a bra, I would have needed a double D that day. Well, even though we were developing and growing up, we still had our funny, goofy times together. And I can remember giving Patty piggyback rides through our house. I'd say, come on, Patty, hop on. And I'd take her legs, and here we go. We'd start to gallop. And Patty would be laughing, hilariously laughing. Before I knew it, Patty would be screaming, my bones, my bones. And I honestly never understood what my bones meant. But I knew I had to find the nearest bed. And I dropped her off. And then I'd climb on top of her and I'd straddle her. That woman, she would be laughing so hard. Her little arms and hands would be flying all over the bed. And I could do to her anything that I wanted. I knew it, and I took my opportunity. I took those floppy little hands of hers, and I put them right on those great big boobs of hers, and I said, oh, yeah. And then I'd yell, Mom, Patty's touching herself again.
Patty, this is not fair.
Her boobs just kept growing and growing, and I waited so impatiently for mine to come. Well, her developing body also gave us a little bit of a scare. Patty and I walked to school, and this one particular morning, Patty left a little bit earlier than I did. And by the time I got to the lot that we had to walk through, Patty was all the way at the end. And I saw a man pick up my sister, throw her to the ground, and he was getting ready to rape her. And I'm telling you, something inside of me just snapped. And I said, no, stop, no, let go of her. And I ran to her as fast as I could. And we were so thankful that those screams scared that man away. Patty and I received Christ as our Lord and Savior in our early teens. And we knew that day that God our Father had been watching over us. Ecclesiastes 4:9 says that two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. If either one of them falls down, the other can help the one up. You know, we never had to walk through that lot again because Patty bought a car. She bought an orange Ford Pinto. Uh-huh. How many of you remember the Pinto? Okay, so that was like driving around town in a human fish tank. And I know that's the truth because Patty taught me how to drive in that thing.
I'm so sorry. But it had a sunroof.
Well, life kept dishing us out challenge after challenge. But you know, it actually caused our faith to resolve and to become quite strong. When I was 12, our father had left our family. And when I was 16, Patty was 18, our mother passed away. And because of my age, I became ward of the state. Now, I remember Patty driving me in her orange Pinto with all my little belongings, and she took me to the home where I would become their first foster child. She helped me take all my things out. She put them on the driveway, and I just stood there. And I have never felt more alone in this world than I did at that moment when my Rock of Gibraltar just drove away. You know, we have shed our fair share of tears, and we have both felt the sting of loneliness. I went on to college. Patty started working full-time. I actually went to Grand Canyon University, and I lived on the same floor as Beverly's niece, Tracy. Now, back then,
Who was identical to me?
back then, Grand Canyon was a strict Baptist school. And I loved Tracy. She was so fun, adventurous, free spirit, transparent. I enjoyed being with her. And yes, she is Beverly personified. Now, Tracy would go to Uncle Bobby and Aunt Beverly's house on the weekend. I didn't know who they were. And then she'd come back to school, to the strict Baptist school, and she'd tell us all that she learned about speaking in tongues. I did not know this Uncle Bobby or this Aunt Beverly. I knew this. They are all a bunch of fruitcakes. Well, several years later, Bev, Patty and I, we took a great big bold step together. And we started attending Valley Cathedral. Valley Cathedral was a non-denominational church. And you know what? They believed in speaking in tongues. And we came in and we went to the very, very, very back. We sat in the last pew. And you know what? We were amazed at the heart of worship that came out of the people, you guys. I mean, they had their hands just raised, and it was so authentic, and they were just praising God from their hearts. But Patty and I were Baptist. We worshiped God like this. But that all changed one Sunday. We came into church. We took our spot in the very back in that last pew. And then Patty does this number. I worship you in spirit and in truth, and there will never be a friend as dear to me as you. I looked at her and I said, "What are you doing? You have become charismatic." We laughed so hard that we melted into a puddle of tears, and we were so glad that we were in the back of the church. That morning, I really believe that God was in the back of the church with us. And you know what? I think he was laughing just as hard with us, because he was freeing us to worship him with our minds and with our bodies. And Patty, thank you for taking that first bold step. And now we're both fruitcakes, just like Uncle Bobby and Aunt Beverly. Well, the years went by, and we were each other's maid of honor. And a few years after we were married, we met up to take this picture.
Oh, how sweet.
I'll pass that around. So Patty comes over to my house, and I said, "Patty, what do you think about having a matching outfit?" "Yes, let's do that. That's a good idea." I said, "I have an extra denim shirt. You can wear that." "Awesome. That would be good." So then we get to the photo session, and I come up with this other idea. "Hey, Patty, what do you think if we go like back to back, cross our arms, and then have this really like serious look, you know, where we're not smiling." Yeah, macho, whatever. "Oh, Barb, that is good. Let's do that." "Okay, great." Well, the picture comes in the mail to me. And I took one look at this picture. And I said, I called her on the phone, "Patty, you know that picture that we took? I thought we were not going to smile." "No, Barb, we were not." I didn't smile. I said, "Patty, did you smile?" "No. No, I was so serious. The hands were, Barb, I did not smile." I said, "Patty, I am looking at the picture. Your mouth is open, your laugh lines are engaged, and your eyes are smiling. And it makes me look like I need Prozac." Which girl do you think might be just a little bit bossy?
I think it's the blonde.
Well, that's the story of my first best friend so far. And it's the story of the busty brunette and the bossy blonde. And all those words start with B, so I don't remember. I don't expect any of you to remember which one goes with which girl. But I would love for you to remember this. two are better than one. Because if either one of them falls down, one can help the other up. And that has been our story. And Patty, I am so thankful that God gave you to me as my older sister. You have been a rock of Gibraltar to me. And I'm also very glad that we are sisters in the Lord. And we share a forever, eternal, unbreakable bond. Thank you.